Imagine you start a small lemonade stand in your neighborhood. You buy lemons, sugar, and cups. Then you make lemonade and sell it to people walking by. If customers like your lemonade, they buy more. If they don't like it, they walk away. If the stand does well, you earn money. If it fails, you might need to change your recipe, or maybe drink all the lemonade yourself. That simple little lemonade stand actually explains the basic idea behind capitalism. Capitalism is an economic system where individuals and businesses can own property, create companies, produce goods, and sell them in a market to make profit. Instead of the government controlling all industries, people and private companies make most economic decisions. In capitalist systems, businesses compete with each other to attract customers. Companies try to create better products, lower prices, or new ideas so people choose them instead of their competitors. The basic idea is pretty simple. People are free to create, trade, and earn money from their work or investments. Today, most countries in the world use some form of capitalism, including the United States, Canada, South Korea, Germany, Japan, and many others. But capitalism didn't suddenly appear overnight. Its roots go back many centuries. Long before factories and giant corporations existed, people were already trading goods. Merchants traveled across continents, carrying spices, fabrics, metals, and other valuable items. Markets formed where buyers and sellers could exchange products. But these early markets were usually small and local. Kings, emperors, or feudal rulers often controlled large parts of the economy. In many places, individuals had limited freedom to start businesses or control their own economic activities. Over time, however, trade expanded. Cities grew larger. Merchants became wealthier. Slowly, a new idea began to develop. What if economic activity could be driven mostly by private individuals rather than governments or kings? In a capitalist system, people have the right to own property and businesses. If someone invents a new product or starts a company that people like, they can earn profit from it. That profit becomes an incentive for innovation and hard work. You can see this idea everywhere today. Think about technology companies, restaurants, clothing brands, car manufacturers, and thousands of other businesses competing to win customers. Some companies succeed and grow. Others fail and disappear. That process of competition is one of capitalism's defining features. Supporters of capitalism often argue that competition pushes businesses to improve. If one company creates a better phone, faster car, or more efficient service, other companies must innovate to keep up. Of course, capitalism also has critics who argue that it can create inequality or concentrate wealth in the hands of a small group. But before those debates even began, capitalism first needed a major historical moment to truly expand. That moment arrived during a period of massive economic transformation known as the Industrial Revolution. For most of human history, economies moved slowly. People worked on farms, small workshops, or local markets. Goods were produced by hand, and large-scale manufacturing barely existed. Then, in the late 1700s, something dramatic happened. A wave of technological inventions began transforming industries, especially in Britain. Machines powered by water and later by steam started replacing manual labor in factories. Textile production, iron manufacturing, and transportation all began changing rapidly. This period became known as the Industrial Revolution. Factories could produce goods much faster than traditional workshops. Railways and steamships allowed products to move across countries and oceans more efficiently. Cities expanded as millions of people moved from rural farms to urban industrial centers. These changes created enormous economic growth, but also new challenges. Factory owners could become very wealthy if their businesses succeeded. Entrepreneurs started investing in new machines, factories, and technologies. Workers found jobs in these industries, but working conditions were often difficult during the early stages. During this time, an important Scottish economist named Adam Smith published a book that would become one of the most influential works in economic history. The book was called The Wealth of Nations, published in 1776. Smith argued that economies work best when individuals are free to pursue their own economic interests. When businesses compete and people trade freely, markets naturally organize themselves. He famously described something called the invisible hand. This idea suggested that when individuals pursue profit and efficiency, they unintentionally help create economic benefits for society as a whole. For example, a baker doesn't wake up every morning thinking about feeding the entire city. The baker simply wants to sell bread and earn money. But by doing that, the baker also provides food to customers who need it. Multiply that process by thousands of businesses, and you start to see how markets organize production and distribution. The Industrial Revolution allowed capitalism to expand dramatically. Entrepreneurs opened factories, investors funded new technologies, and trade networks expanded around the globe. Economic systems, driven by private ownership and market competition, began shaping the modern world. And as capitalism grew stronger, it eventually became one of the most powerful forces shaping global society. But it was also about to face its biggest ideological rival, communism. By the 20th century, capitalism had spread across much of the world. Countries in Western Europe and North America built large economies based on private businesses, markets, and international trade. Companies grew from small local operations into massive corporations producing cars, electronics, medicine, and countless other products. Innovation became a central feature of capitalist systems. Entrepreneurs constantly searched for new ideas that could improve people's lives and also earn profit. Think about the inventions that shaped modern society: electricity, automobiles, airplanes, computers, smartphones, and the internet. Many of these breakthroughs were developed by individuals or companies competing to build something better than what already existed. But capitalism's rise also led to major global political debates. During the Cold War, the world was largely divided between capitalist and communist systems. The United States and its allies supported capitalist economies, while the Soviet Union promoted communist economic models. This rivalry lasted for decades and influenced politics, economics, and international relations around the globe. Eventually, the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991 marked a major turning point. Many countries that had previously used centrally planned economies began shifting toward market-based systems. Global trade expanded rapidly. Businesses began operating internationally, selling products across continents. Capitalism had become the dominant economic model in much of the world. But even in capitalist countries, governments still play important roles in regulating markets, protecting workers, and providing public services. That's because pure capitalism, where markets operate with no rules at all, can create serious problems. So modern economies often combine market systems with government oversight, and that leads to the modern version of capitalism we see today. Today, Capitalism shapes much of the global economy. Most countries allow private businesses, international trade, and market competition. But modern capitalism is rarely pure capitalism. Instead, many nations use mixed economies, where markets drive economic activity, but governments provide regulations, infrastructure, and social programs. For example, governments may regulate banks, enforce labor laws, provide public education, or build transportation systems. These policies attempt to balance economic growth with social stability. Supporters of capitalism often highlight its major strengths. First, capitalism encourages innovation. When companies compete, they search for new technologies, better products, and more efficient services. Second, capitalism can generate economic growth. Competitive markets often produce large amounts of goods and services, raising overall living standards. Third, capitalism allows individuals to pursue their own economic goals. People can start businesses, invest money, or choose different career paths. But capitalism also faces criticism. Some critics argue that market competition can create large wealth inequalities, where a small percentage of people accumulate enormous wealth while others struggle economically. Others worry about issues such as corporate power, environmental impact, or financial instability. Because of these concerns, many societies continue debating how capitalism should be managed. Should governments regulate markets more strongly? Should taxes support social programs? How should societies balance economic freedom with economic fairness? These debates continue in countries around the world, and that may be one of the most important lessons about capitalism. It isn't just a fixed system written in a rulebook. It is an evolving economic framework that societies constantly adjust and reform as they search for the best balance between freedom, innovation, and fairness. Understanding capitalism helps us understand the modern global economy and the ongoing discussions about how societies should organize wealth, opportunity, and progress.